Yeah, thanks
Okay.
for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Yeah, thank you.
So I thought to tell about you and your work to my audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how are you? Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Okay. I'm from Peru.
Peru. Okay.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Mm. Okay. That is in America. It's like, well, like Latin America.
South America.
Actually, right in the capital, I actually live in Lima. Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So you
so I
may
want to.
not know it. Yeah, you may not know it because it's in the capital, and many people that come to Peru, they actually go to the provinces, so to go see Machu Picchu or so. Mhm.
Colombia is in.
Colombia?
Colombia is near to you, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's close.
I interviewed some software people from Colombia
Okay,
and
I see.
a journalist from Colombia.
Mm, okay.
So can you tell about yourself to my audience and where are you from? Like a small introduction.
Okay. Um, well, I'm from Peru, you know that already, and I actually am a software engineer here in Peru. Um, there are a lot of people that are self-taught, and that is awesome. I even encourage that. That's why I have a page on Instagram, so everyone can actually learn how to code. Specifically, apps, but in general, I think everyone can learn to code anything they want. But for me, actually, I have a degree, but I've never been abroad. I'm a software engineer at a company here in Peru as well. And right now, I have my own business too, coaching business for teaching others how to code. Even if they don't have a degree like me, they still can learn.
So you're a software developer.
Yeah, I'm a software developer. I work at a company in Peru, and yeah, I code all the time, but sometimes no, because when you're a software developer, there's so much positions you can be, and when you start, you become as a junior, right? And in that position, you have to code all the time to improve yourself and catch up with the others that are seniors. And when you're a senior, you code a lot too, but kind of like you code, but also you are like a mentor to others and you are in a lot of meetings. When you're a senior, you start having meetings with the clients generally. When you're junior, you don't, basically because you're just learning how to code. When you're a senior, people think developers code all day, but that's not true. Because at work, like in any other job, you have to have meetings with clients to understand their business, what actually is it that they want. And then you have all kind of meetings, like the whole schedule is meetings and you have little time to code, right? Because after meetings with the clients, you have meetings with your leader, your team leader, or with your project manager. Um, all about how to do this software specifically and what about the deadlines, and they ask you for estimations, and then you have to do all kinds of estimations, whether that's in Excel or give documents to your project manager. That's how I'm going to take to make this software, or that's how much long I'm going to take with my team. And then you have to have meetings with your team to explain to them the meeting you have with the client so they can have it all as well. And then basically, you're still coding, but mostly coding and being aware and helping others. And you have constantly meetings with your PM. always saying, how is the team going? How are we on the deadline? What's the current status? And so on. So it's basically, I think self-taught kind of code more than people who are actually in the field. Yeah, because we have a lot of meetings, a lot of documents to release. There is a lot of documentation going when you are right there at work, because you have to do documentation for the project manager, you have to have documentation for the client, because the client, when you explain, it's practically like bananas for them. They need to have a document that explains at their level, and another document to actually understand for the developers themselves. So yeah, it's a lot of meetings, and then you have like tiny little meetings with the developer as well when they want some kind of help. And right now, for example, when you're at work, we pretty much work all about agile. I don't know if I think you do, because agile right now it's about every I think every profession use it. When it started, it was mostly for developers, but now I think almost everyone has heard of Scrum at their work. And basically, that means that before we used to do software in a huge amount of time, like, okay, this software is going to take 6 months, 3 years, or so on, depends on what the client needs. But now that's not really something that they want. Everything is so fast now. So with Scrum, the thing is to doing the deliveries in chunks, right? So right now everyone practically works agile. In this case, with Scrum methodology, is like, okay, I'll have this software in 3 months, but let's discuss with the clients what is the most important features of your software, and let's release that first so you can still use it, or at least look how it's going, and not look at it when it's 3 months and say, no, that's not what I want. Right? So now it's in chunks. So this is the main features. I'm going to release this in 2 weeks. We create like a backlog. That's the name in Scrum, but you can see it as a list of features that I want. And okay, we are going to release these features like in the last sprint. That's what we call the chunks: sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, etc. So this you're going to see in 2 weeks. So that actually it's better for the client because he constantly sees. And how it is for the developers, it really depends on the tech leader or the PM how they do it. Because at my first job, um, the PM was not really good at this, because yes, he do chunks. He wanted to be on the Scrum methodology, but he was kind of a mindset of how we previous work. So he put a 2 weeks deadline, yes, but the chunks he put in there, they were very huge. So he really didn't quite understand that it's 2 weeks, but of course the features are going to be so much simpler and only a few. He didn't quite understand that, so it was very stressing for the developers to achieve that deadline with all that kind of features. So I think it's a really good methodology, and that's what we almost doing. But it really depends on your tech leader or on your project manager, someone who is up, right, above you, that really understand the methodology and don't do this kind of madness for the developers, because it's a really short period of time. Okay, so basically that's it. In my work, I have mostly a lot of meetings, and I code like in a very short portion of time. But the developers who are junior or even senior, they code a lot because they have to agree with the deadline. Mhm.
So you work on Apple products.
Yeah, okay, that's the kind of thing. Right now at my position, I see all kind of projects. I see app development as well, but I also see web development and backend development and a lot of APIs that come for banking. So that's the issue. When you work at this, right, in this kind of field, um, you're kind of trapped, right? For example, when you're starting, if you choose, let's see, front end development or let's say web development, um, you're kind of stuck there because if you start there and you get experience, since the field is so broad, you gain experience in that, right? In web development. And let's say, okay, you are earning X amount of dollars and then you want to go to another world to earn J amount of dollars, but you want to change. Suddenly you want, I don't know, see databases, but you don't really have experience in databases, right? Maybe in college or if you are self-taught, you do some courses. But mostly in works in IT, in tech, they ask you for an amount of years of experience. So basically, it's like resetting because, okay, I'm going to do this, that either you're going to enter as a junior again, or okay, they are going to accept you as if, but not the J amount of dollars, maybe the X, the same, because you don't have experience in this. So for some people, it's really difficult to change once you pick. Okay, for example, in me, I used to have app development experience. I used to have web development experience. I used to have backend development experience. But right now, I'm kind of in a position of a leader. So right now, I have others, and maybe they are specialized or not. But me, I can, for example, specialize right now. Because if suddenly, I'm tired of being a leader, I want to do app development all the time. I can quite change because right now it's like my experience as someone in my position is so much bigger than the other. So if I want to keep my same salary, I can do that. Unless I do a lot of projects and to say yeah, and they consider my personal experience for the same amount of laboral experience. Um, but yeah, it's a really bit hard to do that. That's why, and I still miss app development to see it all the time, right? Right now, I see it like a tiny bit of time, but then another project comes in and I see APIs, and then another project comes in, and then I switch teams, and then I guide the other members of the team to do some other project. So it's basically like I do all kind of projects depending on what the client wants. Um, but other people started as app development, and and that is so cool because when they start like that, I'm sorry, it's just I'm not used of talking too much. When they start there, um, yeah, they kind of gain experience and then they take more levels, but in that same area of mobile development. So it's easier for them because they're already there and they salary ups. But yeah, the point is you really have to choose because for me, I choose to be everything like a full stack developer, and I was kind of doing all kind of things. But some people they know for certain since they start, I want to be this, and that's great because now they have to do that all day and they have a huge amount of salary but doing that, and I think that's great. I don't regret it, but um, I still miss some things when I was coding all the time. But that's the thing when you level up. For example, my project manager, he doesn't code, he hasn't coded in years. Like in a huge amount of years because now he's only clients and that's all he sees. And yeah, it really depends. But when you're a self-taught developer, let's say you're learning on your own, um, I will totally say that you actually has an advantage because you don't really have to go to the field just yet. You're a self-taught, so I'm guessing either you're in college or maybe in high school and you just want to see if coding is for you, or you are in another career and you want to change. Then it's not really something that you have to hurry up. So I will say test every field in this career and see what is it that you really like. And then when you see, okay, I done this, and this, I like this the most. I think this is something I could do forever. Okay, then pick this, and for I don't know, 6 months, maybe even three, or one if you have a lot of free time, you grab this and say, okay, and focus only on doing all kind of projects only in this area. Do a lot of projects, upload it to GitHub or do a portfolio of all your projects done and start applying. Mhm. Because the good thing in this career is that you don't really have to have a degree in order to enter. Either you have a degree and experience, or you have a degree and then you go to junior, or you don't have a degree but they see your projects and wow, they are exactly what they need, so still they hire you. So that's great.
So you are a iOS developer.
Mm. Yeah, I'm like a full stack developer, although right now I actually don't have the title of developer because now I'm a consultant. But yeah, I used to code all the time. Right now, it's mostly meetings and coding, and then meetings again, and so on. So that's why I think I created this coaching business. So not only to bring more people into coding, but actually like an excuse to code again and to code along with them. And that is so great. And I think because I have a lot of years in this, not so many of someone who is above me or project manager, but I think enough to share with the people who are starting, because when you start it's like too much because this field is so big and you can get lost easily. And right now I'm actually focusing only on mobile development, so I only coach for people who want to learn how to do apps, and right now specifically iOS. But when people DM me on Instagram, I share all kind of tips for people who are not even interested in mobile development. So I answer all kind of messages about what they have to do, what if they feel lost, what they should go to. Um, and people even ask me what to do when they even ask me about Android development, and I give them a few tips for everything they ask, and only people who are interested in actually what I'm coaching about. That's the people who I got in on the call to see how it goes. But the other people, I just answer them for free, okay? And they do have all kind of questions, and that's okay because for me it's not like I am an iOS app developer, so I have no knowledge of what you're saying because I only see iOS development, and that's not. Luckily, I'm a full stack, so I can actually reply all kind of messages and help them.
So what is the difference between iOS, Windows, and Android apps?
Come again?
What is the difference between developing apps in Windows and Android and on Apple?
Okay. Well, to start, they have different environments to work and they have different languages. Well, basically, when you learn a language, you just kind of know all the languages, right? You just have, when you embrace a different language, you just have to learn the syntax all over again. Okay, this is a new syntax. But that's it, because the logic, it's kind of the same in every languages, except for some languages that have an special data structure or a special way to work. But apart from that, they all have the same logic. So basically, you just have to learn the syntax. The other point is it's so different, not so much in the logic way of it, but it's so different when you do an Android app. The feeling when you're coding, it's different, and it's a different way to think. It's like when you, as a user, have an Android and has an iPhone, they're way too different. And when you code, it's also very different. It's like, well, let's start with the IDE, or maybe I just say with the software when you go on for either of them. Like in Android, you have Android Studio, and that for me, when I started, I actually started. I mean, when I started mobile development to see, I actually started with Android development, and that was in the days when it was with Java as a programming language. Right now it's Kotlin, right? And for me, for example, I was so excited to see how mobile development is and how different it is from all the other developments that I saw. And when I saw under development, for me, it was really messy. Like, you have a different structure when you start a mobile project, and practically Android Studio give you all the structures and give you the config files. And I don't know, it was messy for me. The language, okay. The whole life cycle, it was understandable, but it for me it felt so much fun to code back end, because it was more straightforward. Okay, and another issue is that the simulators. Okay, first of all, either you have to use simulators that practically the software gives you and loads you a simulator of a phone, so you can actually see your code how it will look on a phone, if it's correct or not. And the simulators in Android were very heavy. Like when I was in college and take an Android course, oh my god, it will take forever to load. So basically, when we started class, the first thing we did is grab a seat, turn on the PC, and woof, load the simulator before the teacher comes. And when the teacher came in and started giving his class, the simulator was already there, so we started coding, right? And well, I think the simulators are kind of the same, because in iOS you have Xcode as a software, and in there it was also um, terrible to load the simulator. But the major point is I had an iPhone, so the good thing is you can connect either the simulator or your phone. In Android, I didn't have that. Even since Android I saw in college for the final project, it was on a phone. It was forbidden to do on simulators, so I have to ask my mother for their phone, because I didn't have an Android, and that's how I presented it. But yeah, you can either connect your phone or do the simulators. And then uh, for Xcode, I think I was happier because I had an iPhone, so it was so much easier to see the code itself, how it brings life. But right now, there's been an update in Xcode, and now you have like a Canva right in front of you, and it's not like a Canva that in Android they also have something like that, but this Canva you can do a live preview, so you can actually work with that Canva without loading the simulator, and that is so much better. I am so grateful for that update. But to summary, um, it's kind of a mindset shift. the life cycle itself, it's different in Android and it's different in iOS. So the softwares apart, let's say the code itself is different. Um, but you can do both totally. And right now, even we have hybrids or crossover frameworks, right? So you can actually do one code base, and that same code base can be for Android and for iOS, and that is great. Of course, it has to be with something that is not really complicated. For example, if you want to do, I don't know, a quiz app, then yeah, it's perfectly fine to use the crossover, and then you can publish to Android and iOS with no problems. But if you want to have something with, I don't know, augmented reality, or you want to add a camera and stuff like that, or you want to actually specifically save it to the iCloud, let's say, then you can do that in a crossover framework because it's not native. Right, so you have to go, for example, to an iOS environment and implement that. And if you want the same to polish on Android, then you have your team, Android developers, to actually replicate the same in a way that it looks kind of the same app, but of course it's going to see the differences, right? That's why when you have an app, you see it's a bit different in iOS and it's a bit different in Android, and it's the same app because it has different team members and they actually have to adapt the components, right? Because in iOS they have a specific kind of package of components, let's say, and in Android it has a different. Even the look and feel, it's different. But I have to adapt that in the way that they look kind of the same because it's the same app nevertheless. But yeah, you can also do like a framework to do both in the same code base. But like I said, it has its limitations, of course, because it's not native, right? Because in here in iOS, you work with something and components that were written specifically by Apple. So definitely you have more to work here than in a crossover framework, and it's the same in Android, right? So yeah, basically that.
So why security system in iOS is stronger than all other platforms?
The security in okay, the security in iOS. Um, well, for starting, Apple is itself a very close environment. Okay. For example, in Apple, you can really get, let's say, the package itself of the app. You can get that, for example. In Android, you can do that all the time. For example, when you have Android, you have a lot of apps. And let's say you have a premium app, but you don't want to pay for it. It's okay because all the Android apps, they have APKs, um, and you can get that very easily. Um, Other you can download it like the free version, and you can actually decompress that into the search for the APK, or basically all the people, because it's not new. If you are doing it right now, probably someone did it previously uh, before you, so it's a chance it's on Google, right? So you can search all kind of apps and you don't pay a dime for it. um, in iOS it's not like that, and it's even really difficult to upload your app. You have to wait, you have to package it, you have to validate it, and even for you, you don't have it because in Android you compile it and everything, and then you have the APK on your machine, and you can even sabotage yourself and load your APK for everyone. But in Apple, it's not like that. Everything is like close. Even you, when you are coding, you can see it. When you compile and you package your app to distribution, um, It's packaging in only the Apple environment, and they only ask for you to say, okay, you wanted to go to TestFly or you wanted to go to Apple Store. And that's it. You don't actually have it downloaded in your local. It's like that, and so you never have your app itself unless you connect it directly to your iPhone, and then you have your app on the phone. But it's still, Apple has a policy that it can stay too much. So I don't remember how it was, maybe 24 hours, 48 hours. It's on your phone, yes, but then if you actually, it's in the phone because you connected it to the Xcode, it's going to die the next day. Like in 24 hours, you see it and it's dead already, and you have to do that again. So it basically, Apple doesn't want to be stay forever, and it's like that in every kind of situation, in every kind of thing you do. It's very close like that, and actually that's really an advantage, and it's something that is great because Android and its IDE, just like in Windows, it's all very, very easily to come in. Just like in Windows, when you have a Windows, you can do pretty much everything you want with it. And it's not the same if you have a MacBook, and it's not the same when you're in its coding. You can actually see it. And since we're talking about the distribution part, I wanted to actually say for the people who want to go into mobile development that, for example, when you are in Android and you want to upload your app and you want to publish it to the public, okay, you have to pay a fee, but it's a one-time payment. You pay like in Android, I believe it was $25, and that's it. So you pay $25 and you can then upload everything you want, right? For the eternity. Because that's it. That's like you do one payment for all the apps you want in life. And they don't really watch your app when you upload it. Sure, they kind of like, okay, it has this, you put this, it's okay for the underage. Okay. And they have set it like immediately or in some hours, but that's about it. Um, in Apple, again, it's so restrictive. You have to have an Apple developer program. You have to purchase it, and this purchase is like it's a subscription. It's not one-time payment. Uh, Apple is always like this. It's like right now, I believe $99 it's actually quite cheap, $99 per year, but it still sucks that it's a subscription because if you only want to publish one, uh, you still have to pay your subscription. And let's say you want to maybe release one, and then I don't know, you go into Android development, and then you return after 2 years, and then you want to publish, but you still are paying, even if you're not using it, because it's subscription based. Um, so basically, that itself puts you in a position that if you are an Apple developer, um, you're kind of stuck there. You have to be an Apple developer because you want to keep uploading your stuff because you're paying a membership. And yeah, you feel like you're there and you need to be there. In Android, it's not like that because maybe you paid $25 years ago and you don't care right now. You are in another kind of projects, right? Because you are not investing money in it anymore. So in Apple, it's kind of, they make you a fan. They make you someone that has to stay there. It's different. And another different thing is in Apple when you publish an app. I mean, so you can see the whole process is different and the whole feeling is different when you're in Android. It's like you upload something like in YouTube, right? You don't expect no one to say, no, your video is rejected because it's bad quality. You can upload any video even if it's bad quality. In Android, it's the same. Sure, it has some validations, but it's not on the level of Apple validation because when you publish something to the App Store, first you have to agree to a bunch of contracts, and when you finally got all the things about your app there and you publish your app, um, they basically let you know that a member of Apple, of the of the Apple, is going to review your app, and they ask you that you say like if your application has a login involved, to give like a demo user and password so they can log in without registering. They want just to log in and see your app. So you have to give them that, and then a really person actually checks your app like really in detail. And that's why a lot of people feel frustrated sometimes, because there is rejection in Apple, a lot of rejections. Like they say, no, your app, sure it works, but it's not in alignment with the Apple guidelines. And they send you like a link of the Apple guidelines, and they give you feedback, and they basically say why it's rejected and what you should improve. Um, and then you read all of that, and then you're kind of continually talking to them. And that's why I always say to everyone, if you get rejected, it's okay, because actually they give you feedback and apply the feedback and keep doing, and maybe they reject you again and you still going like that until you get approved. So that's like Apple, and basically they take like 2 days, maybe sometimes a week, and say, okay, now it's approved. So if you, I don't know, want to say to the world, my app is done, it's going to publish tomorrow, right? You can do that in Android, but if you are with the same mindset of Android and then you're publishing to the App Store and you say the same, okay, I already published in both stores and it's going to be available tomorrow. Do not make that promises, because that can work in Android, but in Apple they may reject you, or you may be available in 1 week. So your audience, it's going to feel like, hey, it's still not in the App Store, I can see it, right? So don't make promises in Apple, because they actually have like real people watching your app and giving you all kind of feedback, and they are like so into Apple guidelines and they want you to respect that. And yeah, it's a different process entirely when you're coding, when you're publishing, in everything. And like I said, you have to pay a yearly subscription for being in App Store only.
I have published two apps of mine on Google
Mm.
Store.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and how was the process?
Yeah, so using Android Studio, I developed it, and
Mm-hmm.
I have converted my website to a mobile app. And after converting it, I sent that APK to the store. I mean, they have approved it. First, it got rejected, then they uploaded the Android one, and
Mm-hmm.
I have planned to publish my apps in iStore also, but like you said, it's completely different. You know, I paid only $25 there. I can publish
Yeah.
multiple apps there,
Mm-hmm.
but here yearly I have to pay. I saw that yearly I have to pay, and I know it is going to be completely different. I never tried. Until you said there is a program like Android Studio. I converted my web application to mobile application, and I got a APK and I sent it. So, like you said, just I came to know that there is a program in which we have to develop application. So can we develop this web? Can we convert the web application to mobile application and send to the app store in the same way like I did in Android?
Mm, what do you mean exactly?
I mean a web application converting to mobile application.
Mm, a web application, it's more trickier in iOS than it is in Android. Well, you can always make it responsive to see like in a web page kind of thing, but if you want it to be like in iOS, uh, it's different. And if it's a web app, I will definitely go to a crossover framework because if it's already a web application, it I assume it doesn't have anything that deals with the phone itself, and it doesn't have to ask permissions for some features of the phone itself. So if it's like that, I I wouldn't actually try to update it, but I will try to do a crossover application. And since I don't want it only in mobile, I will actually use React. So it's on web and it's on Android and it's on iOS instead of trying to adapt both. And yeah, that's what I will do. Mm. Because it's easier in order to do and easier to maintain as well.
Because I wanted my audience uh, to access my information in all mediums like web application and mobile and everywhere. That's why I did that. It is a
Mm-hmm.
WordPress application. I developed it in
Ah, okay.
WordPress. So I did that and I got I placed ads on it also. I placed Google ads on it
Mm-hmm.
in
WordPress
Android.
application. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but I never know about iOS. So coming to this platform, it is more secured. It is completely different from all other uh, operating systems. It is completely different thing to learn.
It
So,
it is. Yeah.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
the beginners who feel confused, they don't know where they want to go, where they fit in. So what do you say to them as a coach?
Mm, okay. It depends on specifically their question, but if they feel lost, I will then actually assign them to my coaching program, but actually do coaching call for them only because there's a probability that they don't choose iOS development, and that's entirely okay. Because, like I said, there are ways. Um, for example, you opted for a way, and it's okay. And like in development, they have all kind of paths, right? They can choose, they can adapt, or they can go to the native ways. It's entirely up to them. So what I will say in the coaching calls is to make a presentation of all the possibilities out there and go through the call explaining all the possibilities to them and make pauses, obviously, if they are actually getting even more lost seeing all there is out there. So actually asking them if it's all clear to them or not, to go more slower, or maybe they have all those kind of possibilities, but they are only interested in knowing about this part, not in the rest. Okay, and then I focus only on this when I'm talking, and I only focus on this, and then I explain it to them so they can see that maybe they wanted to create an app, but my coaching program is not necessarily for them. They don't necessarily go for native, right? So I explain all of them, and then in the end, um, they can choose. And what I always say is to try coding in only focusing on the thing they're interested. Try coding, for example, in Android. Try coding in iOS as well, so they can actually know the differences. Maybe for them, it's easier to code in both, and they love both. Maybe for some, it's they only want to stay here. For others, they want to stay here, or for others, they want like a crossover framework because they don't really maybe care for Android or iOS. They just want to be like everywhere because they're only focusing on web development, let's say, and they don't really want to learn um, mobile development at all, but they just want their web to be in the hands of their audiences. So maybe don't really need this, but there are people who actually want to hire as an app developer. So for them, telling them about these other possibilities, they don't care because they want to apply to this job. So it really depends on my client what they actually want. And but maybe they don't want to apply to no place, they're just curious, right? And that's fantastic because in programming, I think a lot amount of people enter to this field because they're curious, they want to code, they know to know what it's like to code. And that I think is great because coding is so much fun. I think pretty much all of the people who are curious about it has had coded when they were kids or teenagers. It really doesn't matter when you started, uh, but the thing that you got curious about it's a really good sign. And if you're curious and you're not really hurry to get a job, then why not just play around with all the possibilities out there and see what you like better and do that, right? Because I think coding is a very creative way, and even if you don't want to be in a job of coding, maybe you just want it as a hobby. I think it's one of the best hobbies there is, right? Because you're very creative, and the same way you're very logical and you're very focused, and you learn all kind of stuff coding, and it's actually great that you have an idea and then you code, and you can actually see your idea become real, and that is actually cool. That's why I admire also a lot of people who are into robotics. I mean, they are so cool. I actually would like to find a coach in that because I always been curious of robotics, but I've never been there. And I think a lot of software developers don't actually have a chance to see how it's there. Um, who knows? Maybe I don't like it, but I wouldn't know because I never really been there, right? And I think that's the same coding. Maybe you're curious, and maybe when you try it, you don't like it. So I can actually say, okay, you're curious about iOS, take my program because let's say my program is 3 months, and they only took 1 month to realize they don't really like coding, but it was interesting nevertheless to see it. So that's why I do first coaching calls individually and actually to encourage them to try them out. To try it out, and if they're really lost, then I can do like a beta client, right? So they can actually try it out with me. If they like it, then I actually present to them the offer of do a program entirely for the whole 3 months or 6 months. But it's not, I only give them like a 6 week beta program. If they like it or not, it's only 6 weeks. And they can see right there if they want to move on or they want to try another thing or not. But previously to this beta, I still do the coaching so they can see all the possibilities and maybe they don't really want to try this. Maybe they want to try another thing. That's great. The good thing in coaching is that it's growing. I mean, before I think they only were coaches about life coaching, right? Which is very important. It's very important for everyone. But the thing that I really like, it's like coaching right now is in every field, right? Basically, before either you hear of sport coaches or life coaches, but now it's everything. You want marketing, you have marketing coaches. You want to know about Instagram, you have Instagram coaches. You want to start your own business, you have a business coach. And in development, I haven't really found coaches. Um, I mean, the community is fantastic, but we are kind of like, yeah, there, but I have never seen a development coach. I don't know if you have seen, so that's why I wanted to actually implement coaching in this as well because I never seen that. Um, but yeah, basically, that's the whole process of what I will say with someone who is lost. I will give them a coach, uh, basically a free one the first time. If they keep going, then maybe a charge fee, but it's really small, and really make them see, okay, you're interested in the program, maybe a beta program. Even in Instagram, what I actually, let's say, market all the time, right? It's the beta program because pretty much a lot of people don't know what they want. So I actually offer like all the time the beta program. And if I see, I click with the client click with me, and she or he is actually excited, then yeah, I then offer the whole program for them. Mhm.
So how much time it takes for a newcomer to understand iOS and understand mobile app development in iOS?
Mm, again, please.
How much time, approximately, how much time it takes to understand, to learn? Uh,
Okay, okay. Um, it really depends because first I have clients who has seen development, right? In general, maybe web developers, backend developers, it doesn't matter, but they have never seen mobile. Then it's different because they have a lot of background in development in general and they understand pretty much everything and they just want to know the syntax here and how different it is in here, right? So basically, I give them the whole platform content that I have recording videos, but they can skip them. I basically then come out with specific assignments for them during the coaching calls and specific recording videos for them because they're even if they're new in mobile development, they're kind of advanced already comparing in comparison with another clients, right? So they advance so much faster. They can take like I don't know, uh, yeah, they basically take. I mean, a month is more than enough for them to advance really quickly. But then again, um, there are some clients that are experienced, but they don't have much time because they already work as a developer, and basically all the developers they do all the hours that is work, and then they do a lot of extra hours too, especially when it's the deadline and they want to go to production to um, do the delivery of their hours. So they do a lot of extra hours and then they only have maybe they don't have even the nights of the weekdays, they only have a weekend, and maybe in the weekend they're so tired and they barely code and so they barely have time to do my assignments. So it depends. So if that's the case, it will take longer, but not really because of mobile development itself, because they don't really advance much during the coaching calls, during their assignments. But so for them, they take longer, but it's still pretty self-paced compared to the other kind of clients that I have. So these kind of clients are entirely new to development in general. They have never coded. Mhm. So it will really take a lot of time because first I have to teach them all about algorithms, how the data types work, how the data structures work, and all that, especially data structures, are really hard um, to understand when you're first seeing them, right? Especially some people more than other. It really depends how much awareness they have on this. But yeah, for them, I think the first month entirely will not be about mobile development or Swift or how to create not even a button, but for the first months, it will be only about programming in general, learning the syntax of Swift, learning what is an array, how you write it. It's mostly about the foundations first, and then starting to learn actually what they enter to learn, which is mobile development. So, like you said, it really depends depending on what your background is. But in general, mobile development, for creating a basic app, you can learn it pretty fast, like in some weeks or a month, unless you have no previous development background. But for creating a really, really good app, still you have um, to be creating apps all the time and to learn a lot of stuff out there. And if you want good practices and you want to know about TTD, then yeah, like 6 months will be ideal at least.
So, so if you send your links where people can connect and can get your codes, I will put in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube can find your links and can learn from you.
Okay. Sure. I know I'll send it to you later on after this call so you can see and you can put it down in the
Yeah,
description. Yeah.
yeah. So at last, as a iOS developer coach, so what do you say? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Oh yeah. I watch some, especially when you reach me out, right? I didn't quite understand. I thought even you wanted a coaching call or something, and I was like, uh, I first have to know something about you first, previous to some random call. So I was like giving you the link for a survey, at least to know something about you. But actually wanted an interview. And that's when I said, okay, then I saw your feed, right? Because first you were only in the chat. I saw your feed and I see all these interviews. And I love the clips. The clips were so spot on. They all say kind of positive things. And I really say, wow. And what it really said something really great. I felt something great when I saw the interviews were not about development at all. And I thought when I saw first the feed, my first impression is okay, this person interviews a lot of people, and I assumed maybe tech in general, right? All kind of people in tech. But then I saw so different kind of people in so different fields. I actually love the idea because you kind of get to know people from all over the world and learn about their experiences in all kind of fields. Like one person was an artist, the other one was a writer, and it was very great. I actually love the idea that you're doing this. And then I saw your YouTube because I was interested in. I don't remember which person it was. Uh, he worked for Microsoft Teams, I believe, and I was interested in that, so I actually went to YouTube and see the whole video, and then I saw other videos, and yeah, it was really, really interesting.
So, about myself, I did a master's in software engineering and graduation in computer science and engineering. And recently, I got a job in Canada as an IT director. Uh, by the company offered me a job by seeing the videos that I did, the diverse videos, like
Yeah.
talking with like completely different people who are not into technology. So
Hmm.
that I think this logical thinking, being in a technology, this logical thinking made me to think, what, why can't we try something which nobody tried. So which I saw the YouTube and I thought, why can't we talk with somebody, some random people directly by sending a message and telling them that, are you ready to be interviewed by me? And firstly, it was tough for me in the beginning days, but now I don't have time to take the invitations and ask people. Like I have a lot of invitations, and I'm doing with a lot of big politicians. In coming days, I'm going to do with politicians, and another video from Microsoft headquarters, Seattle, who is working in Seattle. He
Mhm.
gave me, and the next week you will see that video that I'll upload that. And there are a lot of people like AWS, Amazon Web Services, Cloud. I'm a solution architect trainee, AWS
Mm.
solution architect trainee right now. So I'm learning that. I'm doing some implementation videos and trying to see all of the sides in IT. So what they do, so how they do, how they create things and all. So I'm just trying to see the overview. I'm not going deeper because one of the tech professionals said me that don't get into all of them. You'll become mad. Don't just be on. You also said in this video, just be on. Select only one thing and work on it. But when I get free time, just want to see what other people are doing, other people are learning.
Yeah.
So I thought it is a learning experience for me. At the same time, telling to I have like huge following because I'm a content creator from long time. I have social media following, like more than 40,000 people are following me, and on Twitter I have 27,000. Like the Instagram account through which I have contacted you, that is a new account. Actually, another account is there, which
Oh,
is an old
wow.
account. I have 8,000 plus followers. Where I will send you a message from that. You will know that account also. So like that, I have
Yeah.
started the podcast also. I'm putting the same videos. Converting it to audio and putting in podcast, and I'm getting following from all countries. Like even I don't even know the country names. Vietnam, from all states, from United States, Canada, Bangladesh. Like it's a new experience. I'm trying to talk with nutritionist, police officer, army officer, who are not into tech, but just want to know
Mhm.
what they are doing. Some people
Yeah.
say about their books, they write their books like their imagination and where those thoughts are coming from and their personal experiences about like general life and all that. I understood that this communication technology is like communicating with each other. So if I understand the complete globe, trying to talk with it, just try to tell the world that a person from a particular part of the planet can communicate and connect with any country and any person who is living in any part of the world. So just tried that. I tried it and it worked out. And also, it is a and being a technical guy, I'm doing this. It's a it also helps in this AI, artificial intelligence, where people are
Mm.
creating machines by understanding the emotions of different people who are living in different parts of the world. So that maybe in future I can be a guide, just give some inputs to that. Maybe if I get some position. So all those thoughts by seeing the Microsoft CEO and this SpaceX Elon Musk who moved from his country to Canada. So like a lot of great people who are into technology, they inspired me. And Apple, no need to say about this. So it's the first interview for me, who is working in I who is working with iOS and. I just wanted to know what the work is, and I learned a lot from you now, and I'm sure my audience also have known a lot of points from you, and definitely I will suggest everybody who is following me on everywhere, uh, uh, they will get benefit by learning because a lot of people are interested in learning this platform, but don't know how to do, what to do, how to start, and where to start and all. So definitely it will be a good information for them. And I'll put this video on audio on podcast also. Who will approach me, I will, when you give me your links, when you say that this is how people should contact me, I will tell them they can do that. So from my side, this just I'm doing this for gaining knowledge and just helping others. That's it.
Yeah. And it's a really great. I mean, I totally encourage you to keep going. It's fantastic, and I also think I'm going to subscribe to your YouTube account. so I can keep seeing what kind of other kind of people you interview because they're like in so many different fields. It's really interesting. And I also want to ask you, the podcast is available in the Apple Podcast?
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, fantastic, great,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I will share that one. Okay, great.
yeah. So, at last, do you have any final words to the world who is watching and listening to you?
Sure. If you really want to start with Apple development, and like I said previously, learn about all kind of things, not only Apple, so you can actually compare it to other kind of things and see if you actually like it or not. If you don't like it, then please look at other kind of developments because development is broad and maybe you don't like actually you like coding you just don't like this platform. Maybe you can try other streams until you find something you like, but if you really want to start here, the first thing I will say is learn the basics, and the basics are algorithms and data structures, and that is pretty much common in all the languages. And then learn Swift, which is the official language right now for app development. And when you learn Swift, um, you're going to notice that you have two frameworks, which is UIKit and Swift UI, which is the brand new. And I will say if you want to apply to a job, you want to learn both of them, yes, but it depends on the goal of the position you want to apply to. Let's say that work wants, for example, to maintain all the other apps. Okay, then maybe you have to learn UIKit because since it's already old, a lot of projects that they have, it's made in UIKit. So if you only learn Swift UI, which is the new, you're going to be completely lost in here and you will have some troubles in Word to actually catch up, right? So if you want to apply Learn UIKit, which is the framework that we've been for a lot of years now, and if actually you see the position of the job and they say UI kit optional right now, we want to work with new projects and we want to see with Swift UI, then that's why I say always be discovering your jobs, your positions, and what do they ask. So if they say something like that, then definitely focus on Swift UI because this is new, right? So many new projects are going to be coded with UI as a platform, um, and as a framework. And so you want to learn this. If you are a self-taught developer, then like I said, foundations, then Swift, so you can actually catch up with the language and the syntax itself, and Swift UI. Because first, if you're self-taught, you don't really care maybe about applying to a job. You want to create your own apps because you just want to create your own apps. Then Swift UI is the way to go first because it's brand new. It's perfectly made by Apple for the whole Swift language. It's also practically new because they used to do Objective-C and now Swift by definitely created by Apple, but they still work with UIKit, and now they have this new framework that Apple made entirely perfectly to fit with Swift. So it's so much simpler and it's so much direct. And if you want to do functionality, you will take like 100 lines in here, and it's much harder to understand. And you will take like 5 lines in here, and it's more straightforward. So if you're brand new in this and you're self-taught, definitely learn Swift UI. And if you want to apply to a job, see what they are actually looking for, and you can decide. Of course, it's always great if you have free time, you learn both, right? Because here you can understand all the previous apps that they done, and here you can create all the new apps. And sometimes because this is a brand new framework, some functionalities are not here yet. So you can the good thing that Apple, if you watch the keynote of that year when Swift UI was released, and they say that they can fit together as well. So you can actually, some functionalities are not in Swift UI, you can mix them up with functionality of UI Kit and lift them all together entirely. So that's what I say. Pick one depending on your goal, your objective. But if you have free time, then learn them both. It's always going to be great. And after you are confident with the framework and you create some basic apps, um, yes, watch tutorials, sure, because they're going to give you a huge boost with your confidence and everything. But mm, let's say you pass a month watching tutorials, then make a pause and start building your own projects. But always be realistic with your goals, right? Let's say you learn a lot of things here with the tutorials, and now you want to create a massive, huge app, then you're going to get frustrated. It's going to take you a lot of time. Maybe you're going to even drop it before you finish it and then see other things. So be always realistic. Say, okay, I want to build this app and maybe apply some Scrum in here and say, I want this app to do this, 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 this. But for this month that I'm going to work for this app, I will only have it implement to only do this, 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 this. And let's see if I enjoy working in this app. Then I'm going to add other functionalities in the other periods of time, right? But for now, I'm only going to build them with this. And that's how you're going to keep learning. Creating your own apps, sure, I mean, tutorials are not bad. They give you a lot of key points and experience points that others have done. So, yes, you do tutorials, sure, but the key point is you do not do only tutorials. You do tutorials parallel with your own apps so you can learn doing your stuff as well. And the good thing is if you're stuck, probably someone else got stuck in here as well. So Google about it. Google about what your problem is, and maybe someone already asked in the forums or in any other way, and people reply with the answers of how to approach that. And you can always put that answer in here and see if it works, and then you can continue on. And then you could get stuck in the same thing in another second app. You already remember that you got stuck in the first app in the same, and you can review, and then you are not going to need to Google that part again, maybe other things, and that's how you're going to continue learning. But if you watch tutorials all the time, you don't get stuck never. So you don't have that experience in, that coming from you, right? So I will say that's the process that you have to do if you want to learn development in general and iOS development. Yeah.
So I'm sure all these points will help people to uh, learn uh, how to develop a app in iOS and solve the problems if they are facing and how to improve themselves and
Hmm.
where to get information if they get some kind of a problem when they are facing it. So I'm sure they will do this and truly helpful, useful information. So
Yeah. Okay.
so so whenever you give me your links, I'll put in the description of this video. People who finds our video anywhere can find your links and can continue exchanging words with you and uh, 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 learn how to develop apps and further skills. So thank you very much for giving me your valuable time and valuable information and valuable knowledge to my audience. Can I put this video and audio clip on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for this as well. It was very entertaining.
So, and also, can I put this video and audio clip on my YouTube channel, social media, internet, podcast, website, everywhere with your permission?
Hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So it will help more people. So that's why. So I hope you continue to learn more about development and help a lot of people like this and improve. Not only you, people who comes with you will learn from you and earn a lot of things in their life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. Now I'm going to drink a little bit of water and thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep watching my videos whenever you're free.
Yeah, I will.
Uh,
Okay,
Take care.
you too.
Bye.